Breaking tonight, the terrifying hijacking scare, the urgent alert aboard a plane just before takeoff at one of the world's busiest airports. The massive police response, passengers and crew evacuated, chaos in the terminal, but amid the panic, the airline admitting it was a false alarm. Tonight, the mistake they say triggered it. Also tonight, an arrest after the ambush that killed 9 members of an American family in Mexico. The suspected drug cartel member in custody, the victims, 3 mothers and 6 children as young as 8 months. 5 other children who survived transported to the U.S. What we've now learned about the attack. The urgent search for a 5-year-old girl, the family discovering her missing from her room, their back door unlocked.
She's obviously in danger. At 5 years old, we know it's very urgent that we find her as quickly as possible.
Police asking for the public's help tonight. The explosive testimony revealed the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine implicating President Trump in a quid pro quo with Ukraine, and the public impeachment hearings when they will begin. The bitter Arctic blast about to sweep the country, the coldest temperatures of the season, up to 6 inches of snow coming. Al Roker tracking it. And don't wait for Black Friday. Some of the biggest holiday deals start tonight.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening. The world held its breath for hours late today after word of a possible airplane hijack drama unfolding in Amsterdam. A signal mistakenly transmitted from the cockpit of a Madrid-bound airplane indicating a hijack was in progress triggered a full-on military and police response and reminded us all that when it comes to aviation security, there is no taking chances. Kelly Kobiea starts us off.
At one of the busiest airports in the world tonight, a major security scare. Planes stranded at gates after Dutch police got a hijacking alert from the cockpit of a plane that hadn't taken off. Flights delayed, parts of the airport closed. Nearly 2 hours later, it was over. The airline Air Europa explaining on Twitter the alert was activated by mistake. Nothing has happened. All passengers are safe and sound. 50 million travelers fly through Amsterdam Schiphol Airport every year. Last New Year's Eve, passengers were evacuated after a man claimed to have a bomb. Police arrested a 51-year-old Canadian, but found no explosives. Tonight, Dutch military police tell us they're still investigating what sparked today's hijacking alarm. Lester?
All right, Kelly Kobiea with those anxious moments. Thank you. A possible suspect is in custody tonight in that massacre in Mexico where 9 Americans were killed, including 6 children and their mothers. Were the families targeted by a drug cartel? Here's Miguel Almaguer.
Relatives of the victims gathered at the horrific crime scene in Sonora, Mexico, as police investigate the massacre that left 3 American mothers and their 6 children dead after a savage shooting with 200 rounds fired.
This is devastating.
It's been a tragic nightmare. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up.
Today, investigators announced the arrest of one man who may be connected. The Mexican president saying the U.S. can help in the investigation. Military officials adding the ambush may have been a case of mistaken identity between rival cartels. The 5 siblings who escaped the bloodshed are recovering in Tucson. The youngest victim, 8-month-old Brixen, was shot in the chest. The oldest survivor, 14-year-old Kylie, was shot in the foot. 13-year-old Devin walked 14 miles to get help.
He hid the rest of his 6 siblings in the bushes, covered them with branches to hide while he went for help.
Shock has now spread across the Mexican compound where the families live, the descendants of Mormons who settled here decades ago. Relatives say the cartel likely knew who the victims were.
They'll stop and surround our vehicles, but then they'll see who it is and that they recognize who we are, because they keep an eye on every single person.
Tonight, few answers after the massacre in Mexico, a shocking crime even in a country plagued with violence. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Tucson.
There is an urgent search for a missing 5-year-old girl in Florida underway tonight. Police issuing an Amber Alert after the family discovered her missing from her room. Here's NBC's Steve Patterson.
Tonight, a frantic search in Jacksonville for a little girl who vanished from her bed. An Amber Alert spurring hundreds to search for 5-year-old Taylor Williams. Police going door to door, knocking on hundreds of homes. Still no sign of the little girl.
She's obviously in danger, and at 5 years old, we know It's very urgent that we find her as quickly as possible.
An adult at the home telling police she was last seen around midnight with the back door of the home unlocked.
Our officers are going door to door on foot. We have homicide detectives, missing persons detectives, patrol officers. We have everyone out here to do everything that we can to locate Taylor.
Williams is 3 feet tall, weighing 50 pounds, with brown eyes and brown hair. Last seen wearing purple and pink pajamas. Police say the parents are cooperating with authorities.
Please help us and to get her home and get her back safely.
Tonight, police pleading with the public. No tip is too small as crucial moments in the search for Taylor tick by. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
Also developing, House Democrats announcing the first public hearings in their impeachment inquiry. The first witness will be the acting U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, whose private testimony was released today. Kristen Welker has more.
Tonight, revelations. Another top diplomat testified there was what amounted to a quid pro quo, withholding military aid to Ukraine unless Ukraine investigated the Bidens. Special envoy to Ukraine Bill Taylor telling lawmakers he had a clear understanding security assistance money would not come until the president of Ukraine committed to pursue an investigation into Joe Biden's son Hunter, who had business dealings in Ukraine, though Taylor acknowledged he never spoke directly to President Trump. Taylor also expressed concerns there was an irregular, informal channel of policymaking in Ukraine, which included the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. It comes as House Democrats announced their first public hearings. Taylor will testify next week, along with State Department official George Kent and the ousted U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch.
We are getting an increasing appreciation for just what took place and the degree to which the president enlisted whole departments of government in the illicit aim of trying to get Ukraine to dig up dirt on a political opponent.
Republicans downplaying the disclosures, noting Taylor testified Ukrainian officials did not know the military aid was being withheld until weeks after that July call between President Trump and Ukraine's leader.
I trust the fact that the Ukrainians didn't know that aid had been held and Ukrainians did nothing to get it released when it was released. Those are the fundamental facts.
Also tonight, Republicans taking aim at the whistleblower who first raised alarms about that call. Donald Trump Jr. retweeting a report with a possible name, Senator Rand Paul calling for the whistleblower to be outed.
If someone's going to accuse you of something that might remove the president from office, for goodness sake, shouldn't they come forward and present their accusations in person?
I think whistleblowers are entitled to their confidentiality.
And Kristen, there's also late news tonight about former Attorney General Jeff Sessions. What do we know?
Lester, that's right. Jeff Sessions is expected to announce he'll run for his old Alabama Senate seat. Two sources tell us that's despite knowing that President Trump could campaign against him. The president recently said naming Sessions Attorney General was the, quote, biggest mistake of his presidency. Lester.
All right. Kristen Welker, thanks. Also in Washington, opening statements in the trial of Roger Stone. The former Trump advisor is charged with lying to Congress, trying to conceal his alleged effort to gain insights about Democrats' hacked emails in 2016. Stone's lawyers say he never intended to mislead Congress. Steve Bannon, the president's former chief strategist, will be a prosecution witness. A wintry blast is beginning to sweep across the country, bringing bitter cold and threats of snow in places. Al Roker's tracking it. Al?
Lester, by Friday morning, overnight lows will be anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below average with wind chills 10 to 25 degrees. Friday, temperatures again well below normal with wind chills 20 to 35. And moving into Saturday morning, more of the same with even more brutally cold temperatures in the Northeast. We've got a storm system making its way through the Great Lakes down to the south, a flood risk for the southern plains with heavy rain from the Ohio Valley into the south. Heavy snow moving into the interior Northeast and New England with snow anywhere from 4 to 8 inches from the Great Lakes into the Northeast, and there's more on the way early next week, Lester.
All right, Al, thanks. Authorities in Milwaukee just filed hate crime charges against the man accused of throwing acid in another man's face that we told you about earlier this week. Here's Gabe Gutierrez.
The victim of the brazen attack says a man threw battery acid on his face after asking him why he was invading this country.
All the people have the right to be here. Hate need to stop.
Today, prosecutors in Milwaukee charged 61-year-old Clifton Blackwell with a hate crime. He now could face an enhanced sentence up to 35 years in prison if convicted of the original charge of first-degree reckless injury. Mahoud Vialaz suffered second-degree burns.
He was talking to me really angry, really hateful face about Gabe. back to your country. You come invade my country. You don't respect my laws.
Villalaz immigrated from Peru. He says Blackwell confronted him over the way he parked near a restaurant and accused him of being in the country illegally.
He is an American citizen, and he was attacked brutally, barbarically, and we should all be outraged by that.
Tonight, Blackwell, who just appeared in court, has not yet entered a plea. He's being held on $20,000 bail. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News.
And late developments involving those two murder suspects who made a daring escape from a California jail. They've now been recaptured. Police say they fled to Tijuana, Mexico, but were arrested trying to re-enter the U.S. at a pedestrian checkpoint, literally walking back into custody. A major announcement tonight from Airbnb, the world's biggest online marketplace for private home rentals, cracking down on scammers and fraudulent listings. Tom Costello has the big changes.
Across the globe, 2 million people stay in Airbnb rentals every night, from New York to New Delhi, Wichita to Warsaw. But a recent Vice News investigation uncovered a pattern of alleged deception and fraud, of customers booking rentals only to discover the actual property was nothing like the online photos. Run down, dirty, even abandoned. Reporter Ali Conti started digging after it happened to her.
There were holes punched in the wall, door handles were hanging off, no kitchenware or anything like that.
The owners nowhere to be found. Today, Airbnb announced major changes, pledging to verify all 7 million properties and owners over the next year.
We're going to make sure that we can stand behind every single listing, every single host, to make sure that every single listing is accurate, the information's accurate, the photos are what you say they are.
And a new money-back guarantee if your rental isn't as advertised. Just last week, 5 people were killed at a party in an Airbnb rental in California that drew more than 100 people. The company determined to end unauthorized parties and abusive conduct. Airbnb says it's adding a 24-hour neighbor hotline for emergencies and promising to review any guest reservation that looks high risk. Lester?
All right, Tom, thanks. There is a growing movement to stop the execution of a death row inmate in Texas, scheduled to die in 2 weeks for a crime he says he didn't commit. The effort getting a boost from some famous names. NBC's Ron Allen went inside the prison to speak to him face to face.
On death row nearly 22 years, Rodney Reed just days away from execution.
I'm innocent of this case. Absolutely innocent.
Reed's case now attracting attention from a growing list of celebrities, and over 1 million people have signed an online petition to stop his execution. Reed, now 51, was convicted of raping and killing 19-year-old Stacy Stites in a small Texas town in 1996. Reed's semen found inside her body. You told the police you didn't know her.
That was the worst mistake I've ever could have made, and I did not want to be incriminated in relation to her death.
Stites, one of several women prosecutors say Reed sexually attacked, allegations never proven. Reed now says he and Stites had a discreet, intimate relationship, and that this man, Jimmy Finnell, then Stites' fiancé and a police officer, is the real killer.
The evidence points directly in that direction.
Well, the evidence points directly at you because
that was created from the state's narrative of this whole situation.
Reed's lawyers point to developments since his 1998 conviction. Witnesses who say Finnell made threatening and racist statements about the affair. Forensic analysis raising doubts about basic facts like the time and place Stites was killed. And a former prison inmate says Finnell bragged about killing Stites while Finnell served a 10-year prison sentence for improper sexual activity with another woman.
It's just plain ludicrous to buy into this Rodney Reed circus.
Finnell's attorney, Robert Phillips, denies Reed's allegations.
He's got great lawyers, very creative. They keep coming up with witnesses out of the woodwork.
Never have we thought that Jimmy was guilty of murdering my sister, ever.
The Texas Attorney General's office says after reviews by more than 20 judges, it's time to see that justice is done at last.
I'm cautiously optimistic that something good has got to happen.
With 14 days left, Reed has appeals pending all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Ron Allen, NBC News, Livingston, Texas.
With another debate coming up this month, we're asking what's most important to Democratic voters. And Harry Smith is taking their questions to the candidates. Tonight, Senator Amy Klobuchar in our series, What Matters?
Right? How many union members or former union members? 5, 6, 7.
At our roundtable with Democratic primary voters,
I couldn't get into a union. I couldn't get health care.
a clear desire for the return of union strength.
Just take a look at this.
What are we going to do to make unions stronger in this country? Because they need to be stronger. When the unions were strong, the middle class was strong.
What goes through your mind?
That they're right, that they get it.
We talked with Senator Amy Klobuchar at home. To her, unions are a family matter.
I literally am here as the granddaughter of a union member, an iron ore miner, the daughter of a teacher, a union member, the daughter of a newspaper man and a union member.
How Americans view unions has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. Nearly 2/3 of adults in the U.S. now view unions favorably.
We have things that have gone awry. It is no surprise at all that you're going to see an increase in union organizing and an increase in interest and popularity of unions.
But union membership is at a decades low, 10% of the U.S. workforce. To effect change, the senator wants to reverse Trump administration rules on overtime pay and appoint more labor-friendly judges.
When there were changes in our country, like during the Gilded Age, and people weren't being treated well, that's when unions came up, that's when unions organized. So that's what this is really about.
Perhaps, as another Minnesotan once wrote, for unions at least, the times are a-changin'. Harry Smith, NBC News, Minneapolis.
There's much more to tell you about tonight. Still ahead, Ellen DeGeneres and Sandra Bullock, two big stars fighting back tonight against scammers. And the price you pay, big savings on your holiday shopping starting at midnight. We'll tell you all about it. Back now with the two big stars, Ellen DeGeneres and Sandra Bullock, teaming up and fighting back against scammers. Here's Gotti Schwartz.
Tonight, some of Hollywood's biggest stars taking on some of the shadiest characters of internet advertising. Scammers using the names of celebrities to sell things like makeup online, now the targets of a new lawsuit filed by Sandra Bullock and Ellen DeGeneres for the unauthorized use of their names and likenesses. But the problem is, scammers online change company names so quickly, it's not even clear who they are, named in the current lawsuit as John Doe's 1 through 100. It's the kind of scheme that's plagued the internet for years. Even NBC's own Savannah Guthrie used in a fake ad claiming she was leaving the Today Show to start her own skincare line. When we tried to get to the bottom of who was behind those ads, we found dead end after dead end.
There's no manager. Okay, we're trying to figure out why there are fake advertisements selling your product under the names of several recognizable celebrities. And so you're a customer service agent, and you're not in a position to answer that because you were not aware of that.
Now, DeGeneres and Bullock hoping for better luck as they take their fight from the internet to court.
So if you see an ad featuring your favorite celebrity, experts say do some independent research to make sure that product is legit. Beware of any subscriptions. And if you do fall victim, report it to the Better Business Bureau. Lester?
All right, Gotti, thanks. Up next, Cashback Day, how you can save big on holiday shopping starting tonight. In tonight's Price You Pay, a new shopping holiday retailers hope will rival Black Friday. And it begins tonight. Here's NBC's Vicki Nguyen.
Move over Black Friday. Consumer savings website RetailMeNot introducing Cashback Day, jump-starting the shopping season at midnight with up to 20% cash back from hundreds of major retailers. Here's how it works. First, you have to create an account with RetailMeNot.
If you're using the app, just click on the Cashback tab. Starting at midnight, this is where hundreds of online retailers will show up with their deals. Click on the deal that you're interested in, for example, the Sephora deal. Click on the Activate and Shop tab. It'll redirect you to the retailer you want, and you can start shopping.
The deals vary from store to store, and remember, they're online only. You'll see your cash back in 45 days. Just click Redeem Reward. You can get it via Venmo, PayPal, or as a gift card.
If you're looking to shop in any category, you can guarantee that you're going to find that category and that particular store on Cashback Day.
Consumers are expected to spend about $730 billion this holiday season, and 70% of shoppers say sales and discounts are the #1 reason they choose a particular retailer. If you miss Cashback Day, other sites like Rakuten and Ibotta also offer cashback year-round. All of this boding well for consumers, helping them save money while they spend it. Vicki Nguyen, NBC News, New York.
All right, up next for us, the incredible shot with an even more amazing prize.
NBC Nightly News is brought to you by Pacific Life, a reliable income that lets you retire without retiring from life. That's the power of Pacific.
Finally, the Oklahoma student who scored big, very big at last night's game. Here's Blaine Alexander.
Call it one heck of a Hail Mary. Halftime at last night's season opener for the University of Oklahoma basketball team. Freshman Cale Montes was plucked from the crowd to try his hand at a half-court shot, and he delivers. But wait till you hear what he won. Free college tuition for an entire year. A half-court heave worth thousands of dollars. Turns out Cale does know a thing or two about basketball. He played on his high school team. But maybe happiest of all, Cale's parents, perhaps keeping some extra money in their pockets thanks to a very lucky shot. Blaine Alexander, NBC News.
Awesome shot. Congratulations to Cale. That's Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt. Have a good night, everyone. Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.